what you fantasize about. I know what you
What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This one is actually quite spontaneous. The actual race for me is happening in about 40 minutes. So I am having kind of the race against time to get this video made before the start of the French Grand Prix. So haven't done this in a very long time, in all honesty. We're going to do a last to first challenge. Let's go Charles Leclerc. Bit of fresh meat in the front of the F1 field, and we're going to race around, obviously, the French Grand Prix, because that is where we are today. Let's go here. The Ferrari is a little bit slower than the Mercedes, even in the game. Slower in a straight line and through the corners. So this is going to be a tough old last to first challenge. We're going to go with 105 AI, and we shall go from there. Bear in mind, I'm going to be live commentating this, so my pace won't be as strong as if I were doing this in, say, a career mode aspect where I'm just fully focusing on the driving. But you'll get my impressions of how I feel driving the game, so that'll be pretty darn cool. We'll chuck qualifying on, but only for the sole purpose of actually starting from the back. So let's get this challenge done. Let's see where we can finish in the Ferrari. Before we get started, please like and subscribe, and let's do this.
It's that time once again, the final moment before lights out and the charge down to turn one. Who will come out on top at Paul Ricard today? We'll find out soon as the French Grand Prix gets underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn one. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly and Perez, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Romain Grosjean, Stroll, Norris, Carlos Sainz and Raikkonen, Kvyat, Albon, George Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi. Kubica and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn one and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Alright, so here we are on the grid of the French Grand Prix in the Ferrari, starting from last place. We've got some Williams around us. Hopefully we can clear those guys very, very quickly. The race strategy today is quite obviously a one-stop, doing a 25% race, which is the equivalent of 13 laps around this circuit. In terms of the setup, we're going to rock with the baseline. I've been running my own setup these last couple of days, and I'm starting to wonder whether my setup is actually crap or not, because I'm having a hard time beating the AI in qualifying. Race trim, not so much. I've been quite strong in the races, so I'm hoping I can come to the forefront here, and I can really get a gist of how strong the AI are by running the default setup. Quite a lot of fuel on board, but this is a power track, so we will be utilizing a lot of that through the middle sector. Let's start this race, shall we? French Grand Prix. I might have to turn my headset down, that is quite loud. 4, 5, red lights, and away we go for the start. I actually wasn't ready for that, but that's fine, because we're going to have a very slow build up to this race. Let's bring this closer, shall we? And we will get going. This is all very last minute and very rushed, but it's quite good in a way, because it's raw. You're seeing my actual reaction. It's not so, I don't know, there is an element of emotion that is lost sometimes in post-commentary, but here you're going to experience all of it. But here we go, into P18, There will be moments where I will not talk as much so you can enjoy the game sounds a little bit more for you purists out there, and we will get that. But for the moment, I'm going to be talking to my heart's content a little bit. 3 wide down this back straight, and I was worried that I was going to drill the back of those guys, so I kind of took to the escape road there. That was probably not legal, but we're going to press on anyway. This isn't the most serious race in the world, so yeah, we're just going to march on here. Can we get signs, or are we going to go around the outside? We're just going to get squeezed out, to be honest. And Albon might get us back. Interesting. Losing a lot of battery already. So, if you played F1 2018, I always said that the battery depletion was quite harsh. But it's even more so on this game. I feel like the battery kind of wears out about 30% more than what it did last game. That's not an exact figure, but I feel like you drain the battery a lot faster than what you did last game. So you have to be quite efficient with your battery usage. Make sure you're not wasting it and saving it through the corners. To charge it up for the straights to get those overtakes done. Trying to get a nice exit here. Even in a Ferrari, having a hard time overtaking a Williams, which is interesting. He's actually pulling away. Like, what is going on here? I've got theories that the AI are just a little bit too fast in a straight line. It's probably coming into fruition now. The fact that the Williams is pulling away from the bloody Ferrari, which is faster than anything down the straights. And we just got nothing. Not a thing. Are you joking? Did you see how fast this Ferrari was in pre-season testing? We can't even overtake a Williams now. That is how dire things have gotten now in F1. Or am I just trash? It's probably the latter, to be honest. That's close.
Nice move. Good job. We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
That would have been so embarrassing if the Williams would have got me back. Around the outside, no less, on a Ferrari. I think I would have had to shut my whole YouTube channel down there, and then if that was the case. But in terms of unlocking speed in this game, you have to be quite delicate with the car, and I've reiterated this many times in career mode, but I just thought I'd say it again if this is the first video of mine you're watching. David Greco, one of the lead handling designers for this game, said that you can't really over-rev the engine beyond 12,000 revs. And if you do that, you start to lose performance. Whereas last game, people were revving the guts out of their engine for better traction, to, you know, hold speed better and short, and like brake, use engine braking better in braking zones. But that's really going to harm you this year if you do that. I've also found that using higher gears really does help in minimizing wheel spin and getting better exits, and you don't really bog down either. So there's a real sweet spot in the lower revs. I feel like, I could be wrong, but that's just the general impression I'm getting so far from the handling model in this game. Race is starting to open up for us a bit more now. And I'm sorry about the forcefulness of these moves, but we've only got 13 laps to get through the field. Just thought I'd rather be exciting than boring, to be honest. Still there, is he? No, he's fine. So now that people aren't really getting slipstream anymore, it's opening up opportunities for me a whole lot more. I have to think about my pit strategy as well, and making sure I don't come in when the pit lane is too busy, because the Ferrari's at the start of the pit lane, and with all the midfield teams stacking behind you, yeah, you don't want to be stuck in your pit box when everyone is coming through. So I think I might do an overcut here and use the pace of the Ferrari to you know, yeah, overcut a few people. Track limits, I feel like, maybe a little bit more lenient this year. But that may vary depending on your platform. I always felt like PC had more lenient track limits than like Xbox. I feel like Xbox had harsher track limits than PC, oddly enough, for some reason. Let's check the engine temps. 127 degrees, so that's not great. Yeah, if you overheat your engine, you're going to get less performance out of there, so make sure you manage that is pretty crucial. And now, we're just trying to close the gap to Hulkenberg and the cars ahead. Teammate is in. The tyres are overheating too. The front left is not happy.
Sebastian's in for his stop.
Thanks, Jeff.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
But yeah, going back to the whole live comming thing, I can see it already. I'm over revving the engine. I'm like missing shifts, or the optimal point to shift up. So that's just these tiny little details that you overlook. You only have so much mental capacity, I suppose. Some people have more than others. But, you know, I'm one of those people who struggle to do multiple things at once, normally. So when you throw commentary into the mix, it always brings out some interesting driving habits. I always find that fascinating how that just kind of happens. If you've never made a YouTube video, you'll probably never understand, so I don't know. Do your career mode race and get a friend or something to come into the room and have a full-on conversation with them at the same time, and then I think you might understand what it's like. But anyway, we're boxing this lap, so this is supposed to be a good lap, but here I am talking to friends. More comparisons about 2018 as well. I feel like fuel doesn't burn out as much as what it did on 2018, so you can get away with running less fuel, I think. Pit lane is still... That's a 5-second time penalty. I'm going to do a live appeal for that, and we're going to get this decision reversed. So how you do that is, you just do that, yeah? And that's how you get rid of a 5-second time penalty. It's a shame Seb never had this option. At Canada, pit stop time, 2.6. That's actually a pretty slow stop, to be honest. But...
Are you alright there? Don't worry about the mistake, just focus on the rest of the race.
What mistake, Jeff? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see if the glitch is still here. From F1 2018. We're going to go over here. Oh, you can't go there. Okay. Okay, so there was this glitch on F1 2018 where the pit boxes at the end of this pit lane were ghosted. You could actually go through these and travel into the paddock area, but they have amended that this year, which is in many ways an actual shame because I quite liked going for an adventure.
We want to finish the race on this compound.
And away we go for the rejoin of this race. This might possibly be the worst attempt at a last to first challenge you'll ever see. But it's time for me to get my sweat on.
Mix 2. Fuel to mix 2. Okay, the car behind is catching you by 5/10 a lap. 5/10.
Slipstream. Now that I'm starting to concentrate, you can see how much more ground we're making. 7/10 up on my previous best, and this is on the harder compound tyre. Just been, yeah, timing those shifts a whole lot better. Yeah, it's making a big difference. Managing fuel and DRS, just overall being so much more efficient than what I was at the start of the race. It probably didn't help either that I came into this video being a bit cold. Like this, I haven't driven on the game today. Getting all the excuses out the window. Like look at that, 1.6 seconds faster than before. Like what the hell was I doing earlier? Oh dear, what's Bottas doing here? Stuck behind Ricciardo. Can he get past Ricciardo? Just about. Was struggling, I think. Now, Gasly v Ricciardo. This is an interesting rivalry. Let's see if we can get Gasly and box him in before he can get past Ricciardo. Job done. Sorry, everybody. Thought about going for the move on Ricciardo, just wasn't quite there. We're now red on fuel. So that's interesting. We lost like over a lap's worth of fuel very, very quickly. So maybe my assumptions of the fuel consumption not being too bad, that was kind of based on the Renault in career mode, to be fair. So Ferrari is a bit of a thirsty boy. Interesting. Around the outside of Ricciardo, he's locked up. He's made life very, very difficult, and there we go. What a move. That was awesome. Bottas and the Racing Point up next. Has Bottas got a problem? Bottas has got a problem for sure. Yeah, he's got an engine failure. He's out of here. So here's the replay. Yeah, no puncture. No smoke either. I've noticed a few retirements with the AI where nothing has really come out. So that is interesting. Have we got anyone who needs to stop? Norris needs to make one. But that is it. So we're going to be in P5 with Verstappen and Sergio to chase down. So I think we could probably get third if we're lucky. Not too sure about my teammate. He might be a good way up the road here. But last to third, if we can pull it off, I think that'd be a pretty good effort, to be honest, in only 13 laps.
There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, gap ahead is
No, we know.
6.4 seconds.
No. 4.2 seconds to Sergio. This is going to be very, very tough.
You've been
No.
penalty for that last incident.
Why you gotta do that to me, game? I feel like every time I get a penalty now, I'm constantly gonna think about the F2 finale, where I could have won the championship up against Devin Butler. I'm still kicking myself with that, by the way. I think that's our chance of getting Sergio out the window. I don't know if we'll even catch him, to be honest. He's still a good 4 seconds up the road. That thing is pretty speedy. Ooh. Pierre is looking feisty in this one. Here we go. Gasly with the DRS open. One thing I will say is that the slipstream is still very, very strong on this game. So having to shake off an opponent who is of equal measure to you, maybe even slightly slower than you, is still going to be very, very hard to do this year.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mix too soon.
Got no battery left. I've recovered a bit of fuel now, so that's kind of taken priority. I've been using more battery to keep up the lap time. Just constantly a bit of a juggling act to use one or the other, sometimes both. But now as we get to the last lap, we're going to pretty much expel everything we've got left now. So let's just chunk it out of lean. We can probably afford to run rich for the rest of this race. And we'll push hard. I think it would have been really interesting if I took this...
This is your final lap of the race.
It would have been interesting if I took this seriously, didn't do commentary, and actually, you know, made the start of the race without missing the start and being a bit more aggressive. I actually think we could have won this race. Hamilton and Vettel aren't too far away. That's another warning for track limits, which is interesting. But, you know, it's a bit of fun. Last to first challenges, they often are. And looks like we've got a nice little battle forming here with Pierre Gasly. Let's break the slipstream. You can see he follows me to try and get slipstream. The AI are a whole lot more aware, a bit more aggressive, which you love to see. Not Bahrain levels of aggressive in career mode the other day, but the potential is there in some races.
Now. The tank is empty. The gap to the car ahead is 4.2 seconds.
I don't need to know the gap to the car ahead. We're not catching them, mate. No battery left. fairly low on fuel as well. Pierre still putting the pressure on. He's going to pass me here on track. He's going to get me anyway with the time penalty taken on board, but I think he wants to get me on circuit anyway. I'm really struggling to get some battery back. Hamilton wins the race. Vettel closely followed by in second. Verstappen gonna complete the podium with Sergio getting a breakout P4 for Force India / Racing Point. And for us, it is P6, I think.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Not a bad effort, I think.
Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Something that's been a little bit annoying for me lately is the cutscenes are a little bit choppy on my recording software, but I want to stress that it looks fine on my game that I'm watching. It's completely smooth. You may not even notice this, but I noticed a small difference. I am running 144 Hertz refresh rate, but perhaps I'm seeing the 60 FPS on my right hand screen, and maybe it's fine. I don't know. But anyway, that has been this race for today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed. Last the first challenge with Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. If you think I should continue this into future races for the rest of the season, feel free to let me know. I know that we'll certainly do better than what we did here today in the Ferrari, but I just thought I'd get a baseline as to what the AI would be like with a default setup and only 13 laps to chase them down. I feel like we did a pretty good effort in the end there. And I hope that this proves that the AI are pretty darn tough this year. I'm not running maximum difficulty yet, and you know, they're still arguably a little bit faster than us. You can see the fastest lap between myself and Vettel is very, very close, so I feel like I'm pretty well matched to 105, 107 AI-ish area. But once I get a setup, I think I'll be banging it on 110 very, very soon. Once again, I think it just depends on the track, to be honest. The AI are a little bit unbalanced from track to track. Oh, we can view the highlights. So here's the highlights of the race. And this is a new feature for F1 2019, so we may as well roll through this in all of its glory. I find that the music is a little bit annoying, so I will be turning that off from this point onwards. But yeah, it's not a full replay system. This is just the very condensed highlights. So you'll see some of the best bits. You'll see some slow-mo bits as well. Some of the dives we made into the final corner. Some very, very close calls. We've knocked over a few bollards here and there. But at the end of the day, we've seen some pretty exciting overtakes. There goes another bollard. The caretakers of the circuit will not be happy with me today. But that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. Is there any other videos you want to see from me that are not career mode related? Put those down in the comments, and I'll endeavor to make those videos as quickly as I can. With that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the French Grand Prix, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon.